Okay, Sellers 101 session 4. So we've been looking at the basics and we're talking about the importance of a consultation with a seller client. You want to be able to have something to say, sit down and talk to them in a way that is very persuasive and honors their time and shows them you're a professional. So Sellers 101-4, prep, stage, price, market, negotiate. Having a great consultation system for sellers makes you money because it wins you listings. Just the other day, a friend of mine talked about listing his home in another state. He said he talked to 3 realtors. 2 of them were just there on personality, was his take. He said, but the third one, the one that got the listing, was the one that had an organized, systematic presentation. The reason that agent got the listing, my friend said, was because they seemed more professional and seemed like they knew what they were doing. Part of what needs to go into your listing consultation is a discussion about these 5 things. Ready? 1, preparation for sale. 2, staging for sale. 3, pricing strategies. 4, a marketing plan. And 5, negotiations. Preparation has to do with getting the most bang for your buck as you tidy up deferred maintenance issues and make your home ready for market. Here's a little video I used in some email marketing to that point, and it's not a great quality, but it'll get the point across on some things you can say about this discussion. Wait a second. We did that wrong. Let's do this again. Play. Hey, this is Paul at Red Door again. I wanted to follow up with you about the importance of preparing your home for sale. I don't want your home to steal your equity, quite frankly. And it's true that in our culture today, the difference between the fixer-upper and the fixed-up is a tremendous difference in the sales price. I like to say we don't really have what I call a DIY culture. We have more of an HGTV culture. People don't want to come in and fix up a house. They just want to see a nice, pretty house, and they're willing to pay for it, which means, money in your pocket. So when it comes to prepping a home, it's often about deferred maintenance. Things when you live in the house you put off. Little things that make a big difference when it comes to your bottom line on the sale price, though. For instance, the front door. Has it got a nice fresh coat of popular color paint on it? I mean, if you're carrying groceries in and kicking the door open, it probably has some scuff marks, around there, and maybe the sun's been beating on it and caused some cracks in the paint. And while they're staring at your front door, and they look over at the garden, is it well weeded or does it show some neglect? Those few seconds, those first impressions that they're on the front porch looking at a beat up front door and some weeds in the garden can cost you a lot of money. Don't let your house steal your money. Do what it takes to prep it. Another little example, at my house, I live in an older house. It's a humble house, and the basement stairs have a door, and the doorknob on there is kind of loose. And I've lived there a long time. I know you kind of lift and turn when you open it. You just kind of lift and turn, it opens. But the person who comes to see that house doesn't know you lift and turn. They get there and the door doesn't open. And the psychology of that moment is this house is broken. I know it's overstating it, but it's kind of what happens. And they have a negative impact. So I guarantee you, if I put my house on the market, it's going to have a fresh coat of paint on the front door. The gardens are going to be well weeded, and that it's going to be a new doorknob is what it's going to be. But there's so much more to prepping a home for sale because we don't live in a DIY culture. We live in an HGTV culture. And anyway, that's a little tip for you, and there's more behind that. If you ever have any questions about what it's going to take to get top dollar for your home, I'm happy to help. I love to talk real estate. Thanks. So that's the idea of a little piece of what I used to call the Paul's top 10 top dollar tips for marketing, for getting your home ready for market. Okay, so that's a little bit about being able to talk to them about the importance of preparation in a consultation. Here's a little bit more about staging. The next phase of your discussion has to do with staging the home. Hiring a professional stager is almost always a worthwhile activity for sellers. Develop a relationship with one or two of them as you go. But even if your client doesn't want to take on that expense, you can assist them with some great ideas. This is where you tell them, when you live in a house, you personalize it, but when you're selling a house, you neutralize it. That's part of the staging. Give them some simple tips like the importance of taking down all the family photos and knickknacks, you know, things that they've collected on vacation and are meaningful to them, but they kind of look like clutter to a buyer. Sorry. Tell them to declutter everywhere, including getting every closet at least half empty. I let them know that we're really kind of selling the illusion that this house has plenty of space, because I say illusion because as soon as the buyer buys it and moves in, they're going to stuff all those closets full of their junk, just like the seller has it stuffed full of theirs. But there's that fantasy of plenty of room here. So we got to get at least half empty all these closets, which means we need to have probably that garage sale or some donations to the local whatever, St. Vincent de Paul or Salvation Army or Purple Heart or wherever people drop off that kind of stuff, or the good old trash can. So, but some of the things are actually valuable to them, and they can pack them up and store them because they need to get packed to move anyway, right? Tell them to hire a deep cleaning service to make it sparkle. Make this place sparkle. And, you know, things that people don't think about, like cleaning off the top of the water heater, and the furnace needs to look brand spanking new, and the top of the kitchen cupboards, and the microwave over the stove that's collected some grease underneath, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. A deep cleaning will make them money. How about when you open the windows and down in the tracks there, or when you open the door and there's that, you know, threshold walking in? Yeah, a deep cleaning. Tell them to clean the windows, and even maybe consider this old realtor trick of removing the screens and store them in the basement or the attic, because they dim the light and the view. It'll be a little bit brighter without the screens in between the buyer and the sunshine. Show them photos, or even take them, not tack them, to listings of new construction and professional flippers to show them what homes being marketed by professional sellers look like. Here's another short video I used to talk about some of these things. And again, the quality may not be strong, but it gives you an idea of what you can say.
Hey, this is Paula Red Door again, and I wanted to talk to you some more about, we talked some about prepping the home for sale, and there's much to say about it. I just gave you a couple of brief thoughts. But there's, besides prepping, there's staging a home for sale, and that's different. That has to do with how you set it up, the furniture, the art, the lack of things. Probably one of the big things is decluttering. When you live in a house, you fill it up. I mean, that's just all there is to it. You have 2,000 square foot house, you get 2,000 square feet of stuff to fill it up. That's how it goes. And it's important that the would-be buyer has a sense of space there. In fact, they get the sense that you want them to have the sense that this house has never been cluttered and will never be cluttered. Of course, it's not true. They'll end up cluttering it up themselves. But the point is, we want to stage the home in a way that they're going to love it. That has to do with balance. If you have a large piece of furniture at one end of the room, you need another large something at the other end. It could be a tremendous piece of art on the wall, but something that balances it. Certainly means neutralizing colors and so forth, not personalizing. When you live in it, you personalize. When you sell it, you neutralize. You need them to be able to see themselves in it. So there's much to say about it, but that's enough for now. And
I'll get back at you. Thanks.
So I kind of cut that one short because someone walked in the room behind me. But again, these are ideas about how to talk about this stuff in a way that makes sense to people. And so that moves us on to the third point, and that's pricing strategies. We also need to talk about pricing. Use this line. This is a good line. My job is to make sure we price it right so it doesn't sit on market, because days on market cost you money. But I also don't want your house to steal your money because we underpriced it and left some of your money in the house. See that? Is the idea of we don't want to leave your money in the house. But that gives them the sense that, hey, this guy gets it. He understands that I need my money back out of my house to go to the next place. All right. And you let them know up front, hey, my job is to make sure we price it right so it doesn't sit on the market, because days on market cost you money. But it's also important that we don't underprice it and let your house steal your money because you left some of your money behind in the house. Tell them that the good news is they don't really have to guess what their home will sell for, because you can give them a very reliable range based on prior sales of like homes in their community. Of course, what we call comps or comparable sales, right? You see that? Let them know this is a whole lot of science. We really can get them the truth of the matter, okay? And let them know that homes sell in a range, and theirs is in the top half or the bottom half, depending on condition, right? So you got to let them know the truth. Just yesterday, I listed a home that's in the bottom half of prices in that area because it's been a rental for years, and the client told me he doesn't want to spend any money rehabbing it. Well, he understood. You don't need to tiptoe around this discussion about theirs is either in the top half or the bottom half, depending on condition. Tell them you'd rather tell them the truth now than let them down later, okay? But tell them they have options on how they want to play this thing, and your recommendation largely hinges on the type of house they have. And by that, I mean how expensive it is. If it's a bigger, more expensive house, you want to price it just at what it will sell for, because there aren't that many of those buyers walking around at any one time. If they've got in our market, an expensive house, $600,000-$700,000 or something, it's not like there's 12 of those guys, able and willing to buy a $700,000 house walking down the street at any one time, right? So you don't want to play a game where you're pricing it low and trying to get many people to bid on it, right? Because you price it low and there's one buyer out there, they're basically going to buy it lower than they should have, and you've left your client's money in their house. But if it's a more affordable price range, you want them to consider pricing it just below what it will likely sell for to generate multiple offers and get it to bid up over the market value a little. So if we're looking at a 1,200 square foot ranch house in our community that sells for somewhere around 240, 225 to 235, 240, then we might want to price it at more like the 230, 235 mark, and let people see it and go, ooh, that's a good deal. We got to go over there. And then let them know, that we're accepting offers for this time range, and see if you can generate multiple offers, and see if you can get someone to stretch into the 245, 250 price point. But this really only works when the condition warrants it, right? When it's got that pop, that sizzle, so that people look at it and say, wow, these finishes are awesome. This is a great price. I got to get my offer in. This thing's going to go over ask. And that's a way to play this game of pricing strategies. Of course, that depends on the low inventory reality of our day now. If you're watching this a year from now, I can't guarantee that's still the case. I expect it will be, but I can't guarantee that. And the reason you don't do it on the higher price homes is because what I said, there aren't necessarily multiple buyers walking around for that home and underpricing it will only result in leaving money on the closing table or in the house, right? So we don't play that game with the higher priced. Here's another quick video on the subject just to get your mind working on how you can talk about these things. Let me get this loaded. And again, it's one of these older ones that doesn't have necessarily the best quality, but have a look.
Hey, this is Paul Curtis again. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about pricing strategies. If you're thinking about selling, it matters your approach to this. It's not the only thing that matters, but it's an important thing. In the lower price markets, it can be a good strategy to price it in an attractive to buyers kind of price and generate a lot of interest. More people interested in your home, the better it is for you as a seller. That works if and only if you're in an active market that has a lower inventory, which describes our market these days. But I say it works best in the lower price points because when you get into some of the higher priced homes, there are only so many ready, willing, and able buyers walking around. If it's a $100,000 house, $150,000 house, there's more people in that price point. If it's a $500,000 house or something like that, then there are less people. So you don't want to price it too low and catch the only one interested buyer in your market at that point in time. And then they're basically, stealing, taking advantage of you making that mistake. Another thing I want to say to you, though, if you go too high, then you're going to sit on market. And days on market are death to you in terms of your bottom line. If you're sitting on market very long, people are going to come and give you kind of a low ball offer. In fact, the studies show if you're 15% over the market value, you're going to lose about 90% of the would-be buyers out there. Sit on market, you'll end up with a price drop, and in the end, you will have kind of shot yourself in the foot. So really, there's kind of a science and art to pricing it in a way that generates the interest, but doesn't leave your money in your house when you're done. Last thing you want is leave your money, your equity on the closing table when you walk away. So it's a case-by-case situation. There's no one right way to do this. It depends on your goals, your strategy, what works for you. Anyway, if you have more questions, you can always get in contact with me. You have the, I'll give it to you, 248-790-0500, 248-790-0500. Have a great day.
So that's a little bit about pricing strategies and how you can talk about it with people as part of your consultation. The idea again being, you want to know what you're going to say and be the expert that has help for them, so that, as it goes. Well, here's a huge part of this discussion: marketing. Every seller wants to know, what are you going to do to get my home sold? They want to know you have a plan and know what you're doing when it comes to getting them top dollar in their market. So you probably don't need to go into too much depth on these things, but they do need to hear and see that you have a 17-point plan that sells their house, or a 14-point plan, or a 21-point plan. It doesn't matter much. It just needs to be a specific plan. Okay, I say it doesn't matter much if it's 14 points or 17 points or 21 points. I once saw somebody put together a presentation that said a 72-point plan. They obviously were just, putting every little detail, like it doesn't matter. But the point is, use that sort of specific language to let them know that you know exactly what you're going to do to get their house sold. And, of course, one of those points is the MLS, and ours is very robust and does work for you. But don't tell it to them like that. You tell them you're using the MLS to hire every agent in the metro area to sell your home because they have buyers actively looking right now. Right? Get that point? We're going to hire every agent in the metropolitan area to get your home sold. Well, that's a great point. But we also are going to say that you personally are going to post their home on the top 50 plus real estate sites in the state and even beyond. and you are, but it's through the MLS syndication, right? But they don't need to hear it that way. They need to hear that you're going to use the MLS and hire every agent in the area. And in addition to that, you personally are going to make sure that they're posted on all the biggest real estate sites out there, because people are shopping with their phones now. And it's important that they take advantage of that internet marketing. They don't need to know that the MLS syndicated it to all those websites for you. You get my point? Those are two distinct points that you're making. The MLS syndication is a tool that you have, and therefore you are doing that, right? So point out one or two other things that go beyond the simple internet marketing plan. You know, I've attached a flyer that addresses this to this presentation, this webinar. So have a look at it. It's just a little colorful thing that points out, I think it's a 17-point plan, but you know, it's the kind of thing you can use, okay? Take a look at this last video talking about marketing, okay? Just a quick hitter. Here we go. Let me get this going. Back.
Paul, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about marketing that matters. You know, one of the chief complaints I hear is that my last realtor just put my listing on the MLS and I don't think did much beyond that. And people want to see a more proactive approach because proactive approaches work. Now, of course, we're going to take advantage of the MLS. You'd be crazy not to. There's tens of thousands of realtors who each are working with who knows how many buyers each that are going to get exposure for your home. And that's what matters. That widest net of exposure to get the most possible interest will bring you the best price in the least amount of time with the least amount of hassle. And that's our goal for you. But you can't just list it and not be proactive. You've got to refresh it. You've got to keep it in front of those people. So we have a developed network of agents that we've worked with over the years. We sell over 100 homes a year for years and years. And the result is there are agents that know us, that we know, that we stay in contact with. And beyond them, there's a broader email blast to the entire real estate community. Beyond that, there's a Facebook campaign waiting to launch with your listing. A single property website that we can use that link in those campaigns, and on online community boards. There are thousands of people on these community boards in our local area. You know, everybody's got their nose in their fancy phone, so we want to be in that phone when they're looking for a home. It's all about being there when people are ready. In marketing, they talk about the reticulator in the brain and how, you know, you got to be there when they're ready, and then it comes back. One of the things we do that's unique and no one else does really is what I call Michigan Real Talk TV. We do a local television show, and we get a lot of exposure and able to drive traffic and get exposure for your listing through that as well. Well, there's many things I'd like to talk to you about personally, but give me a shout when you can. 248-790-0500, 248-790-0500 if you have any more questions or want to talk more about it. A marketing plan that works because you work the plan. That's what matters. Okay, this is Paul. Thanks.
So that's another one, right? Where you can talk to them about marketing in some specific ways and then even show them some of the things you're doing. Well, besides, we were talking about preparing a home. We're talking about staging a home. We're talking about pricing strategies for the home. We're talking about a marketing plan that works. And we want to talk about our role in negotiating the best deal for them, right? So this leaves us with negotiation. Tell them you'll negotiate this transaction as if it were your own. But it's even better that it isn't your own, because that removal, that separation from the transaction, because it isn't your own, allows you to be cold and calculated on their behalf without the emotion that can get in the way of negotiations. Let them know you will not make a move without their full permission, that you'll always be in consultation with them. Won't make any decisions without them. Let them know you have a broker that will be available every step of the way as well. That'd be me, that you can lean on, sort of these gray whiskers, I like to say, to help with negotiation. And the point is to ensure them that you have the skill and a team of people to help you get the best deal for them in negotiation. A note to you, the best deal usually is the most money, but sometimes other terms are important as well. There may be possession and occupation issues that are important, inspection contingencies and renegotiations that are important. In fact, the renegotiation often starts at the original negotiation, very often depending on the situation. So the point is that negotiation is a matter of terms and conditions beyond price as well, right? Okay. Well, you've made it this far. Take one last look at one last quick video. I just want to say good on you for working hard on this 30 days of greatness. Don't be done, though. This is a start, not a finish. But take one more look at this last video here. Well, there it is, Seller 101-4, prepping, staging, pricing, marketing, and negotiating a sale. Part of what it takes to have a great seller's consultation with your selling clients. But listen, I wanted to take a second to talk to you about this 30 days to greatness. Obviously, we said in the beginning, you're not going to become great in 30 days at anything, but you can learn the basics, and the basics are what take you to greatness. Greatness comes from doing the basics over and over with excellence. But listening to a fuzzy guy on a video rant and rave about things is not going to change your life. You doing what it takes is the only thing that moves the needle. So I want you to hear me one more time. Tag, you're it. Go get them. You got this.